How are you guys doing? Okay, I'm here cutting up my fish. I didn't want to do it too early so you guys could see me doing it. I had bought like two, maybe three steaks, fish. But this is a fish, a little bit of bone in there, which is what I want for the soup. And then we're gonna cut them in like large sizes. Maybe not dices, but you know, not too big, but not too small. So here we go. It's gonna be our fish. So we're gonna rinse it. You know, fish doesn't need a whole lot of preparation. I'm gonna squeeze some, and I didn't want to cut it on my board because I don't want to mess up my board. But I do have some pieces of lime. So we're gonna clean them up in the sink, clean my knife, and then come back. And the fish does not need a lot of marinating. You don't need to do that. Maybe 5-10 minutes tops. So here I go. Yeah, I got all my veggies out. So good morning, everybody. Today we're making a Thai-inspired coconut curry fish soup. Easy does it. So we should be out of here early today. All right. So we're just rinsing that with all that goodness, all the lime, because you know, lime is abundant here. Lemon might be a little pricey, but not too much. Wash my hands. All that fishy smell. I love fish, but I don't like the smell. You know, I'm thinking another thing we might do, I still have the conch. I have not decided what to do with the conch yet. So we might, I might buy a little bit more fish and then use the conch and make maybe some type of a stew or legume with it, which is the legume is where you put the, it's almost like a ratatouille with aubergine, eggplant, carrots, chayote, and you can decide to put some greens in there, you know, like spinach or kale or other thing. But the conch has to cook a lot longer because it's tougher. And then I can do that. Oh, that's a good idea. You know, that's how I get creative. I'm in the kitchen and the things are flowing. Good morning, Greta. Hola, buenos dias. Again. My partner in crime. We were working out earlier. Okay, it's gonna mess up my hair. It's gonna mess up my hair, and I don't want to touch my hair. Good morning. Yes. I can get it. What? Okay. You're back again. Game 12. All right. Time for you to go. Wow. 5 minutes into the live, and you're already starting. People have nothing to do. But anyway, so I thought maybe I could use the conch with some other fish and we can make something next week. Okay, so yeah, we could do that. I'm gonna stick to soups for the next few weeks because this is summer and we can do all kinds of soups. Summer on the East Coast. Here is just rainy season. Yesterday we had a storm. All right, guys, so let's marinate that fish, season it, and then we're going to put it to the side and cut our veggies because this is going to take not a long time. Okay? All right, So let's see. For the fish, you know, oof, there's a lot of water in it. Mucho agua. Oh, and I don't want to touch it. So don't make me touch you, fish. Alright, vamos. A little bit of oil. Not too much. So these days I'm sticking to sunflower oil. Alright? And then olive oil. That's it. Have a little bit of dark soy. You put a little bit, not even half a teaspoon. Worcestershire is always good. And you know, remember, your fish doesn't need a lot of seasoning. Yes, we're going to be doing soup. All right, another one. We don't need to bring Jesus into, I'm cooking. Jesus is busy this morning. It's Sunday. Jesus is on duty right now. All right. Pepper. We're going to be using turmeric today in our soup. Adobo. Un poquitito. And of course, I have some dry herbs. I always use them. This is basil. I always use dry herbs. Just keep in mind that the fish does not need a lot of seasoning. Now I'm going to put the acid later because the acid will start cooking the fish. And that's the principle of ceviche, right? All right. Oh, these are little cayenne pepper, red pepper. So just a little bit, not a lot, because you know, but you don't have to put that in there if you're not into heat. Okay? All right, that's that. So I have my lime here, so I'm not gonna squeeze them in there yet. I'm gonna wait. All right? I don't want to be touching the fish. Now the next thing I want to add in here is some garlic, some fresh garlic, okay? You know I can't cook without garlic. I can't. I say that my umbilical cord was trimmed with garlic because I love this stuff. I say you can't ever have too much garlic. And please do not ask me to use powdered garlic. I just cannot bring myself to just, you know, I see all these people online and they're cooking and cooking, and next thing you know, here come 2 big heap of bouillons and all kind of thing, and that's when I click off. Because if I see you doing that, you're not really a serious cook. Because everything is from the bottle. Something that's been there forever, God knows how long. Do I see you use herbs? If I don't, I'm moving on. Sorry, not sorry. I believe in using fresh as much as I can. Now, you know, there's some things that you can't find fresh, I get it. But don't just keep putting all the bouillons and your cubes in there. No, not in my book. Sorry, not sorry. All right, so we're gonna let this sit here for a few minutes, not long, while we are getting all our veggies situated. Now, we're making a Thai-inspired dish, right? So, you're gonna have the fish. I like to put some white wine in my fish. We're gonna do that. Do you use your seasoned oils in your soup? No, my seasoned oil, because it's so heavy with this, I did cook my tomatoes in it. And then, so whatever little oil is left, because you know, you don't want your soup to be oily, that's the thing. You don't want to have your soup and then have to soak up the oil from the top. You don't want that. So I'm going to try to use some of that little oil that's in here when I'm cooking the fish so that I don't over oil it, right? Okay. All right, that's that. So we're going to put carrots, potatoes. I decided to, like I told you yesterday, to use broccoli. So I'm thinking of the broccoli florets, the size of them. So when I cut my carrots, I'm keeping that in mind. And the potatoes, I want everything to be about the same size. This is how you know somebody is a good cook, when they keep everything to scale. That you don't have like juliennes and then cubes and all mixed up. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's all gonna go in the same spot, right? It's just about aesthetics. But I don't go crazy about the aesthetics either. You're not gonna have me use little thing to put other edible flowers. I don't do that. I believe that your food should be flavorful, right? And pleasant to the eye without going crazy. All right, so I'm gonna do the bias again with my cuts. So it's gonna be like this. So we're thinking broccoli florets, okay? So they're not gonna be small. And my God, carrots are good for you. You remember I used to tell you carrots are good for your eyes? So I have carrots in everything. So I also cooked some chickpeas because I want to add some chickpeas to my soup. You know, give it a more powerful amount of protein. And look at my pretty chickpeas. You soak it overnight, and I've told you that before. And then you put some bay leaves and some fresh garlic. That's it. And so good. I could sit here and eat that. I can snack on that. So good. I think I'm going to coin so good associated with me. Because I say it when we're working out too. So good. Very good. So we have our carrots. I found I had some squash. So we're going to be using those. But the squash cooks so fast, it's going to be the last thing I put in the soup, okay? Now, I have a couple of chayotes that are looking a little bit puny, so I need to use them. I need a different knife. Oh, I can maybe, let's see. I can probably use this. The peeler, yeah. So this is chayote. Very nice veggie to use in your soups and your stews. They taste almost like turnips. Oh, I have a hard time remembering that word. I can't believe I remembered it today. Turnips. Turnips are good. We put them in soups. And we're going to be making different kind of soups today, this season. So you're going to learn a lot about soups. Now, I'm not a fan of real cold soups. I remember when I went to culinary school, the very first soup that we made was a cold soup. I can't remember the name of it, but I remember that. Oh, guacho? No. Something similar to that name. We made that. And I didn't care for it. I prefer, you know, warm soup to warm me up. Now, the chayote, as you know, has ridges. So you're going to have to get another knife and get rid of the ridges. These. Okay? Because you don't want that hard piece to end in your food and it's going to taste different. It's like if you have veggies that have cores, you have to make sure you take the core out. All right. The chayote probably would go in with the carrots in terms of how long it takes for them to cook. Good morning, Southern Indiana. Wonderful. Welcome. Okay? Because that one has a little body to it. All right? We're keeping the same size. Perfecto. And so now when we get here, if you recall, we went straight down and then I cut them in half to make it easier for me to take this core out. You got to take the core out of the chayote. Okay? You know, when we cook it with the eggplant, when it's cooked out, and then you take the masher, you can mash them together. It's really good, really good. We call that legume, where I come from, which is the meat with all the stewed veggies. Oh my God. God food. It takes a little while, but boy, oh boy, is it worth it. Woo. And I was listening to someone yesterday talk about, oh, I think Jamaican food is the best. Oh, they cook. I think Haitian food is pretty good too. And I'm not gonna say which one's better. This is not the point. But I think a lot of our Caribbean food is on point. There was another ad. This guy was talking about. There is nothing like a woman from the DR, Dominican Republic. The way they feed you. I was like, yeah, you get some tostones, some arroz con guandules, and yeah, yes. There is a couple online. I haven't seen them in a while. They're like in the interior, but they are in the DR. And they were cooking, you know, a lot of the meals. But you know, like anything in the Caribbean, it's not all healthy. So as you get healthier, you're gonna have to modify. But some people get upset with me when I say you can still enjoy it, just cut down a little bit of the fat. Whew. But they don't want to hear that, and I'm like, okay, I'll kill the messenger. I'm just trying to keep you healthy. Why do you wonder we have so much diabetes in our communities, huh? Because nobody wants to adjust as they get older. They want to eat the same way they were eating when they were 17. Okay. I don't spend time discussing anything with people like that. That's my food, that's my culture. Okay, go ahead. But you're dealing with high blood pressure, diabetes, and everything that comes with it. I was telling the ladies that diabetes is one of the worst diseases you can have because it affects everything in your body. You mean to everything. All right? From your brain to your toes. So try not to get in it. If you know your family has a history, protect yourself. Manage your weight. Watch what you eat. Exercise. Do something. But when you tell me, like that lady told me, she's like, well, my whole family died of heart disease. I've lost a leg or two. I know that's my fate, so I'm going to eat. Okay. I'm not going to say a word to you. Not a word am I going to say. So you resign yourself that you're going to lose a leg or two. Okay. And you don't want to do anything to try to prevent that from happening. Something that is in your power to do, you choose not to. It's not ignorance, right? Okay. All right. Let's see. What else do we have? You know, I did show you that I got this little thing here for $241. It's like a soup kit. Isn't that amazing? But I have squash that I need to use. They even put 2 sprigs of culantro. We use this a lot here. This is, okay, for those of you who may not know, this is culantro. You see how flat leaf it is? Where cilantro is like the parsley with the little leaves. I got parsley today, but cilantro is most likely related to parsley, Italian parsley. But this is culantro. We use that a lot in the Caribbean and in Central and South America. All right. I had a crown of broccoli that was left, even though I bought another one, so I'm going to use the old one. So I'm going to leave that. We'll do that later, right? And I had some leftover half of cauliflower. So we're gonna use this. And again, I made stock with my leftover all these, right? You save them and then you make stock out of them. I'll put it in here. All right, that. I'm gonna cut the cauliflower. I'm gonna put it. Let's use this coriander. And they had 2 pieces of corn. I'm gonna throw it in my soup, of course, why not? Ooh, they had, ooh, this is good squash. That's why I like to buy them when they cut so I can see what the inside looks like. Now, this is nyame. This is a type of yam that we use a lot here, okay? Now, this is malanga, probably, malangas, which is another type of yam, but it's different. But it cooks fast, so I'm gonna put the things that cook fast in here, okay? So I don't put them in too early. And also something I wanted for my soup are chili peppers. I don't buy these very much, so I was happy to see these. I know they're a bit hot, so, ooh. I don't know if this thing's gonna be enough for my soup. That's a lot of things that I have. Ooh. And you know, if you go to the DR or somewhere, even in Haiti, to make this kind of soup, they would put plantains in there. We use a lot of plantains in our stews. I am not using plantain. I think we have enough carbs going into this soup. So, my cauliflower gonna be in there a little bit before the broccoli. The broccoli cooks a lot faster, I believe. But I want to keep the crowns whole for the soup. I don't want to smash them. You see how gentle I'm being with my little cauliflower? They're so cute and pretty. Yes. This is why I say when I cook, the happy hormones start flowing. Because I'm just very happy when I'm in the kitchen. I am. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Why am I saying sorry? So you don't have to give me money or take me out to a fancy restaurant. I'm not impressed by that at all. Because all I do when I go to this fancy restaurant and eat food that is bad for me. You saw your Nick. Greta. Greta is getting popular. It's time for your channel, Miss Greta. All right, let's get the crown. And again, I'm gonna save the stem for stock. Okay? This is gonna be stock. I think we're ready for our fish now to start cooking it. Woo! I'm excited. Again, see? You gather things to make stock. And when you're making stock, you don't have to use, you know, all stock. You can do part stock and part water, right? Especially for those of you who are going to buy it from the store. Even though it's so easy to make it, but that's okay. I get it. I'm not mad at you. If you say, no, I'm just going to buy it. Remember, it's prepackaged. If you're trying to stay away from prepackaged, then throw some vegetables in a pot and cover it and let it cook. That's all it is. Seriously. And then you get all the flavor from the veggies. And that's veggie broth. You can use veggie broth for everything. Now, when you're making soup, fish soup, you could have made what we call a fumet. A fumet is a broth that is made from fish bones. let's say you making what do they call that? A crab boil or something. And then you have fresh shrimp peel. And then you have, you know, when you go to the store, to the fish store, you can buy the head with the spine, with the bone. Just throw that in there with some veggies. And then after it cooks down, you strain it. That's your fumet. We call that fumet. But that is a fish bone type of broth. And then of course, when you do your soup, elevate the taste. I'm telling you. You just have to think through what you're doing. Okay. I also wanted some more color, as if I didn't have enough color with all the yellow and the green. I wanted to have some pepper. Since I have green, I'm looking for a little bit. And I found those three. I thought they were so cute. So we're gonna do a little bit, not a lot. So I try to have bell pepper in my fridge. It's like onions and garlic, okay? So these I'm gonna cook with the carrots because they always take a little bit. And again, keeping in mind the size. Perfecto. Y también este. How can you not be healthy if you eat all this goodness that God has provided for us? Huh? Yeah. Because we're lazy. We want everything instant. Instant food cannot be healthy. Unless you're cracking some eggs, which I do sometimes. And it's not even instant. You still have to cook it. All right. So I think we are ready with what we need to get started. And we are going to put this down a bit so you can see. So we got the ones that are going to go in there later. We have our tomatoes. Even though the one recipe calls for like diced tomatoes, but I was like, I'm using fresh tomatoes. I might put a little bit of tomato paste just to balance the colors. So we'll do that. Tomato paste and white wine. Tomato paste here in this country is abundant, okay? And they don't all come in little cans. The little cans comes from home. And then I still have Pinot Grigio. I'm still working my way through the rest of it. So, I love that. All right, vámonos. Empezamos. Oh boy, I hope that's good. Because what we want to do is we're gonna saute the fish. This corvina, it has a little bite to it. It doesn't disappear in the dish. So I'm gonna cook it. When I feel like it's like halfway done, then I'm gonna take it out, cook all my veggies, get the soup going, and when the soup is kind of sort of done, almost, then I'm gonna bring the fish back because I don't want the fish to disappear. All right. Oh, wrong one. Yeah, I was. I had another burner up. Maggie, you almost caused a fire here. Yesterday, I was in the middle of a class and the light went off. I was like, oh my God. So, and of course, everything went off. I was in a Zoom session. So everything froze. Of course, the generator came back on. Thank you, God, for a generator. And then I had to start all over. So I record all my classes. So I recorded the session. So that was video 1. And then when we got back, I forgot to record again. That is a common thing. I keep forgetting to record. And these poor ladies are beside themselves with me because I keep forgetting. It's like, oops, I forgot again. I forgot again. All right, guys, let us see. Sometimes this burner is a challenge for me, so we shall see. All right. So we're gonna use some onions and garlic. We always start with that. This is your flavor profile. You start with onions and garlic. You can't go wrong if you do that. And this is soup, so it doesn't have to be totally, you know, small and chopped, because it will all disappear in here. So if there are some specific soups you'd like me to consider making, because this is July, August, we're gonna be making soups in July and August, okay? And this is a soup, so we don't want it to be too oily, as I said. And then I'm gonna try to use whatever, a little bit of, this is for my herb oil. That was when I was these, let's say, if you make some eggs, use the herb oil and stew some tomatoes or some peppers in there, and then take that side and put it and eat with your egg. Listen, like I say, play with your food. That's another tagline of mine. Play with your food, okay? Have fun with it. You know, there's so much for us to be worried about. Get in the kitchen, get a new hobby. Find something that's gonna give you joy. And even if it doesn't come out right the first time, you keep at it. Keep trying. All right, so now I'm gonna chop some garlic, even though I have garlic in the fish already. You can never have too much garlic. Now, you know, you could do that with garlic as well. Take a small dish, take the herb oil, and then roast your garlic. Girls, you can smear it on toast instead of butter. It is so yummy. Listen, I'm telling you. Play with your food. That's why I don't like to go out too much. I have too much to do besides creating things on the computer and in the kitchen. I don't need to be entertained outside. Live music and go drink, not me. You're not gonna find me. You're not gonna find Maggie at any of those places, okay? No shade. If that's what rocks your boat, go for it, sis. But I'm not interested. Not at all. One of the sisters asked me the other day, she's like, are you a party person? And my reply was, not at all, sis. Not at all. If I were to go in a place where people are smoking and the music is loud, I'd be leaving. Because my introvert system could not handle that much stimulation. People want to go to the emotion theater and watch something about Michael Jackson. I remember my very first friend here, Sonia, she's like, you want to go there? I'm like, nah, I'm not interested in that. I was never a burlesque kind of, I'm not interested. All right. So, we have, you see how you saute, but you never let it get to the point where it's burned, all right? And then once you smell the garlic, we call that, when it's fragrant, it's ready for whatever you need it to do. So now I'm gonna put the fish in here. And I'm going to cook the fish. This is where I'm gonna add my curry powder. Just season the fish as best as I can, right? Ooh, it smells good. Now, I don't usually cook with these, so I gotta see, now, I'm not gonna taste it, but I gotta see how hot it is. Doesn't sound that bad. But I think what I'm gonna do is towards the end, I'm just gonna slice them thin and use them like a garnish. So we'll see. I should ask Bobby Flay. He loves to use chilies. Yes. I used to be mad at Bobby because he would put chilies in everything. And I'm like, stop it. Create your own recipe. And he has. That man has so many restaurants. And from what I know about restaurants, ooh, what a headache. Those are tough jobs, you guys. Really tough. All right. Well, this might be a time if anybody has a question to ask me, because this is going to take a little bit for the water to evaporate from this. And we can chat. Tomato paste, I don't want to forget that. And we're going to get curry and turmeric, because we want that color. I don't want to forget my coconut milk. And we also have, stock that we're going to use. And I am going to also add some chickpeas that I've been snacking on. I love chickpeas. All right. Does anybody have any question for me while I'm waiting on my fish to dry up here in the pan? Oh, there we go. What kind of fish is it? I'm using corvina, which is sea bass. We call it corvina here. It is sea bass. It's not really a white fish. It's more like a pink snapper, but the texture is a little bit hardier. So it can sustain some cooking, you know. I think snapper could do it too, but again, I would cook it and take it out and bring it back at the end, because you don't want your fish to disappear in the soup. That's no bueno. But you want a hearty fish when you're doing fish soup. I used to love catfish because it's hearty. It can hold itself, but don't let me see the head. If I see the head, I'm done. I can't use it. I used to always go to my my store in Orlando, my fish store, which used to be the Asian store. They had changed the name, and last time I went, it was still as busy. That place is bombed every time, and they would have the big salmon, which probably didn't come from the sea, and then they'd have the head, and I would buy the head and then use that in soup. Delicioso. How about chicken tortilla soup? Okay, I'll do that. Where are you now abroad? I'm in Panama, the country of Panama. Vamos. So yeah, it's going to hold its shape. It's not going to fall off and disappear. So you could use things like catfish, corvina, mahi-mahi, not cod. Cod cooks fast. But you could. If you cook the cod and then you take it out and then bring it back later, you could. No fish heads. Well, I didn't say I was not going to eat fish heads. I cook them in the soup. I don't like to see the eyeballs, but I can do fish heads, but chicken feet, something about the claws and knowing it. My brother said he's going to revoke my citizenship because if I'm Caribbean, I have to like chicken soup, chicken feet. I'm like, I can't do it. I look at it and I'm like, no. Here they have soup. They make all kinds of stew and stuff with it. I was in South Africa. I was inside a store, a food store. And they, when you're looking into the glass, behind the glass, it was piled this high with chicken feet. And I was standing there like this. And this cute lady said, Ma, they would say, Ma, why are you looking at it like that? I'm like, I've never seen that many chicken feet. And then she said, oh, good. And I'm like, ooh. She's like, oh, you don't know how to cook it. You put a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm like, Enjoy, Grandma. Not for me. We went to an event in South Africa, and they were bringing a plate. I think they were like the appetizers, and it had. I think I told that story. It had some roasted peanuts. It had a gizzard, chicken gizzard. I'm not too great. I'm not bad about that. Gizzard and worms and chicken feet. Girl, when I tell you I almost did a 180, my eyes, usually if I'm shocked, it's like I and I'm looking at it and my body tense, and the young man was so cute. He looked at me, he said, "Ma, you don't have to eat it if you don't want to." I'm like, "Oh, thank you so much." So I ate the gizzard and the peanuts. Now the worms, certain parts in South Africa, they have mounds. Where I was going to be deployed with the Peace Corps, they have mounds where they have the worms in there. Or they have some trees. They say they would go in the trees and shake the trees like you would get the fruit down. And the lady I was going to stay with, I kept saying, "Oh my God, oh my God." She said, "Oh, worms are good, worms are good." And I'm like, so it's culture. I was just so worried that if I didn't eat the thing, they tell you you're offending your host if they offer you something and you don't eat it. I was scared to death. I was like, there is no way this worm is gonna go down my throat, get even close to my mouth. I'm not doing it. Okay. All right. So a little bit of seasoning, but I think that it's cooked enough. Very good. So now I'm going to add sorry guys. Let's put the camera down again. We chatted. All right. So we're going to put our spices. This is curry powder. And then I was able to find this here, thankfully. But we have a lot of Jamaicans here, so that was not a surprise. Ooh, yum. And some turmeric powder. Okay? So that's going to give us the color that we want. So let's be gentle with our fish. We don't want to break it up. Ooh, it smells so good. See. Now, there is also a recipe that calls for some ginger. I don't think ginger would have been a bad thing. I just decided not to. All right? And then we're going to take the fish out, and we're going to deglaze our pot. We call that deglaze. When we're going to get the white wine in there. All right? You want to make sure your fish is still whole. All right? Well, let me take one little bite, make sure everything is... So right now, I don't think I need to put the fish to cook at all. It's just like when it's pretty done, then I'm going to put the fish in. See? Bueno, buenísimo. Alrighty. Oh, it is mild and it's flavorful. Now, sea bass or corvina is a very mild fish. So you should be able to put it in anything, it will pick up the flavor. So this was the marinade that I had. I'm not gonna waste it. It's gonna go in here. All right. Now, remember, my stove is on high. So now I'm going to deglaze with the white. Well, let me put, hold on. Let me take it off a little bit. Put a little bit of, don't take it off the heat because I don't want the bottom to burn too much. You have to be alert when you cook, right? So, I'm going to put a little bit of tomato paste. So the tomato paste is going to balance that yellow color that we have going on. Okay? So what I'm going to do now, we're going to let the tomato paste cook just for a few seconds. Always keep an eye on your bottom. You don't want to burn it too much. And then now I'm going to deglaze with the white wine. How much white wine is up to you. So learn to cook with wine and don't be worried. You just want to make sure you cook it off. You burn it off, okay? And that's what cooks the alcohol off. Ooh, the smell. Buenissimo. Now these tomatoes, like halfway through, I'm going to mash them and then throw them in here. Because I want texture, right? Okay. All right. I think what I want to do right now, oh, I haven't cooked my potatoes. Okay. So now these are the first batch of veggies that I want to put in first. And then of course we're going to add our stock. And then I'm going to get a bouquet garni ready. I could have done that earlier, but look at that. Oh, that goodness with the veggies. Ooh, yes, yes, yes. All right. So now it's time for our stock. Now you can, let's see. You can add a little bit more water. Yeah, I think you see the color? Look at that. Ooh, it's beautiful. All right. So, because I know I have the chickpeas, the fish here, I think that's good. Because this is not a brothy kind of soup, it needs to be a little on the thick side, like the minestrone that I made the other day. Do you remember that minestrone? Oh, it was so good. All right, so we're gonna let this cook for maybe 10 minutes. Actually, these are the only vegetables that are gonna take a long time to cook. So I need to cover it to speed up the cooking process. And hopefully it's not gonna take forever. Yeah, this burner gets on my nerves sometimes. But, gotta work with it. All right, let us cook our potatoes. Now the potatoes are gonna go in probably with the tomatoes, and then the squash is gonna go last. Yep, it's all about timing, folks. When you're cooking, you have to keep your wits about what you're cooking and how fast do they cook, so certain items don't overcook. Because when you have a soup that looks like a mushy mess, okay, major pet peeve again. No bueno. But it takes experience, guys. Don't get upset if you try to make something the first time and it doesn't come out right. Right? Rome wasn't built one day. I didn't wake up knowing how to cook. It took a lot of tries. Ooh, wow. I say that about all my food, right? I am biased when it comes to my food. What can I say? Because it's usually good. So there's no sense of me having a false sense of humility. If I said my food looks good, tastes good, it tastes good. And if you think about it in a different way, well, sis, it's on you, not on me. Now remember, when you peel potatoes, you want to put them in some water because otherwise they're going to get brown on you, the oxidation. Let's see. I need more bowls. And I don't want to buy any more stuff. I don't want my kitchen to become like my kitchen back home with so much, many gadgets. Oh my God. Especially you watching TV and they say, oh, look what this is doing, and you order it. And next thing you know, you can't even open your drawer because you have so much junk in there. You know, even when I look at a peeler and I'm like, well, the old ladies didn't have peelers in the old days. They know how to peel a potato. You don't need to have a peeler to peel your potato. Grab your knife. Stop it. Oh. Remember, I worked as a prep cook at Disney. Woo! Girl, I could come up with like 5 bins of lettuce and whew. By the time I get home, the first time I worked at a restaurant, oh, I think my first one was at, what is that? What is that place? Well, they have shamu. But anyway, oh wow. But anyway, the first day I worked there, I could barely walk going home because it's all about speed and the amount of work that they ask you to do. Oh my God, it's on the tip of my tongue. SeaWorld, thank you so much. You see, help your sister out, thank you. I work at SeaWorld. They had Discovery. Remember Discovery? This is where they go and they swim with shamu and all that with with the dolphin. They swim with the dolphin, and they gave me an assignment, and you know, and the chefs are looking at you to see how slow you are or how fast you are. And I'm not a fast cook. I am not a fast cook. That's why I could never make it in a high pressure fast restaurant. Because I told you before, in a restaurant business, the margins are very small. They don't make a lot of money because food costs, it's not just food costs. You have inspection, you got cleaning, you got vent, you got oil management. Oh my God, it's a lot. So the only way the restaurant make money is in the speed. It's how many, what they call covers. You can do, you know, per session in one night, how many covers. But the best way for a restaurant to make money, and my little nephew has a few of them in New Orleans right now, is in the alcohol. That's how you make money. It's how much booze you serve. Well, me being the little Christian that I am, I'm clutching my pearls, and I'm like, I'm not selling alcohol. I clutch my pearls really tightly. At that time, I was in the church. Alcohol, oh my God, no. And so that's why I did my restaurant. I did breakfast and lunch. You don't make money. You got to charge the $34 plate, $35 plates for dinner, and then you serve them wine by the glass, by the cup, right? That's how you make money. It's not in the food. It's in the booze, okay? So, you know, I was struggling when I had my restaurant, my little restaurant. And then this guy wrote on Yelp, oh, I could go to so-and-so place and get breakfast for $3.99 and over there it's $6.99. And I'm like, well, why are you bothering coming? And you know, when you're in a restaurant, you are so worried about reviews. Because one person can do a review and cost you your whole restaurant. You know, one bad experience, you know, somebody finds something in their food, maybe it's a rodent or a bug or something, you're done. You are done, okay? Because everybody looks at those reviews. You know, even I go to Amazon to buy something, I'm going to read the review to see what people say. And when I was trying to break into Amazon, that's what you did. You read the reviews, and whatever somebody was complaining about, you do the same item, but you answer, you correct that problem. That's how you did Amazon. So, yep. But boy, oh boy, you would go when you get your assignment. It says 4 bins of carrots and 3 containers of lettuce. And let me tell you, and if they were busy, you better be putting out those items, because you had your produce cooler. When the cooks go in there to find the item, you don't want to say we don't have it. So, and then they're going to fire you in a second. in a second. And I remember this lady, and at that SeaWorld play Discovery was interesting. They had some women there. It was a whole culture. Ugh. And of course, me being, wet behind the ears, and it was very intimidating. But I'm just so glad I had the chance to experience these things. Whew. Made me into the person that I am. I was already a go-getter, but when I was in culinary school, I was the oldest person there. Of course I was. I was in my 50s, and all these kids were right out of high school. Some didn't even finish high school. What are you doing here? I'm like, I'm having fun. I didn't care. But the way there is a culture in the restaurant business that is really toxic, and I come from the nursing background, and we talk about how nurses eat their young. Like if you have a new nurse come, and sometimes they'll assign them to a preceptor or a mentor, and sometimes the mentor might be somebody who's been there a year or two, and some are nice and some are not so nice. Some are not so nice. And if you make a mistake, they're yelling at them, putting them down. And of course, in nursing, we're dealing with people's lives. You can't afford to make too many mistakes because people will die. So it's a certain higher level of pressure that you have. But when you have someone who is supposed to be training you, and then they're adding to that pressure, and that's why a lot of nurses don't make it past a year. The pressure is too much for them, right? But you go into the restaurant business, it's dog eat dog. I mean, they want, because when you start, they start you with the prep, you're just cutting. And you kind of have to prove yourself to elevate to the salad bar, or to, and they love to send me to the meat prep, the chicken, because everything had to be partitioned and weighed, right? So let's say 3 ounces of something, and you have to get the bag and you got to put it in, and then you have to make sure you keep the temperature, so you have to wear your jacket because the chicken can be warm, right? So the chef or somebody else who is coming, sticking the thermometer to make sure you're staying at the right temperature, which I love because I know that every restaurant does that. And that's the reason people get sick, when food is not kept at the right temperature. They found a restaurant in a place over here in Panama that I'm not going to mention, and the health department, thank God, because I was wondering, do they even inspect these restaurants, these fondas? I don't know what's out there. That's why I say don't go out there be eating all this stuff. You don't know how the food is prepared. Whew. I know I get in my soapbox sometimes, but I'm trying to keep you safe and healthy, okay? All right, so my thing is boiling, which is good. I'm going to cover it again, let it boil for another. It's got a good base. It's not there yet, but that's okay. Let's get the bouquet garni. The bouquet garni is, let's see what I have. Ooh, I have fresh thyme. People get excited about perfume. I get excited about thyme. I know, it's like crazy. Yeah. I have a friend whose son is a chef. He said, Maggie, I hate going to the store with him. I said, I know. He's sniffing at everything, and yeah, we do that. We'll go somewhere. We go in front of his thing, and we're like, that's what we do. And we love it. That's our life, right? Well, he had started a restaurant, and I know how hard the restaurant was, but it was really, really good. But, all right, so I have some Italian parsley, so we're going to put some parsley. Yes. Whew. So big. All right. And I am going to add some bay leaves, because I was able to get bay leaves. I was so excited. what I was excited about, it wasn't just finding the bay leaves, it's finding a whole bag of bay leaves. And this was like $1.50. So you know what? I'm probably gonna die before I finish using this. And I was like, yes, I know I saw it somewhere. Or you can get a little bag for like 40 cents, but oh, when I found these, I was so excited. All right, so we're gonna put all these together with our twirl, right? That's our bouquet garni. And then we're also gonna throw in there a whole habanero pepper, just for the taste, right? And, oh, look at that. We had the culantro that came with our pack, so we're gonna add that to our bouquet. The bouquet, not of flowers, but of herbs. That's what a bouquet garni is. Now remember, all these are terms that come from French culinary programs. And yesterday, well, not yesterday, this week I was watching a program. They were talking about Dubai, or is it the UAE, somewhere. They were building this, you know how these people build those big old things. And then they found a French chef from Cordon Bleu they opened a culinary school. So they're going to train people from that area and they're going to train them in French cooking. I'm like, this is great. Bouquet. Okay, that goes in there. So now we need to start thinking, because our carrots are probably halfway done now, and we have to keep that in mind. So I'm going to bring the camera down so you guys can see where we are in the process so that we can finish off. All right. Now there is a soup that I make with squash that we boil and then we blend and then we pour back in there. This is not that kind of soup. We call that soup jumeau. We'll be making that at one point. But this one, all that turmeric and oh, so pretty. All right, why do you go down? Keep boiling. All right, so now I think I can put my tomatoes. We're going to scrape that in. And that's going to provide a nice contrast in here. Now, I love that stewed tomatoes. Oh, so good. And then you just mix it in with some chickpeas. Listen, play with your food. Oh, that looks amazing. Now, don't forget, we have coconut milk we have to add. Let's add some chickpeas. The chickpeas, that's why I stopped when we were exercising, and I'm like, I don't want my chickpeas to overcook. Now, the chickpeas cooked with some garlic, and I don't want to waste that, so I'm going to smash that garlic on the side of the pan and make sure I take all that and put it in my soup. How about that? You don't want to waste anything, right? And you know that garlic is just going to give more flavor to your soup, to my soup. Brushing it again and then including it. And someone mentioned the water from cooking the chickpeas. Yeah, I have another jar like this of stock, and I just add this water in here. And again, that's flavor. All right, you are building flavor. All right, I think that's enough. Chickpeas. I love chickpeas. I almost always have it in my, let's see. And again, it's all that You have to keep tasting. All right. So we have potatoes. We have the bouquet in here. So now I'm going to see how much. And you see that this dish is heavy in root veggies, right? Root vegetables. So I'm going to cut some of my squash. That's going to go later, even after the potatoes, because that's not going to take a long time at all. And I'm just kind of watching because I don't want to overload the soup with stuff. In the squash, I do the same thing as I do with the tomatoes. You know, put them in my herb oil and then roast it in the oven. Yes. And if you have, you know, like chicken or fish or anything, it's a perfect side, right? Especially if you cook it with the tomatoes and the peppers and you have all that contrast color. Oof. Yes. So we're going to start checking our flavor. So I'm putting some paprika, and then right now I'm gonna. Okay, let's just do this squash first. And I'm just gonna leave them here, so I can add them in the last 5 minutes because they really cook that fast. It's starting to get soft. No bueno. La, la, la. Alrighty. Potatoes, and then we're gonna start with our acid. And it could be that at some point I add a little bit of cornstarch if I want it to get the right texture. I like to mash chicken peas. Chicken peas. Oh, chicken peas and avocado together. Ooh. Then add seasoning and herbs to it and eat it. Huh. You mash the chicken. I don't know how I feel about that. You mash chicken. Avocado, yes. You're making like a guac. I don't know. There's certain things I don't like mashed. I don't like mashed a lot of things. Like bananas. I don't like mashed bananas. I like to eat it whole. So I'm not a fan of mashing meat. Ground beef, I make meatballs. If, you know, I don't eat them myself, but if I'm making meatballs, making lasagna, yeah. But I can't imagine mashed chicken. I'm sorry. Even when I used to say, people say ground chicken, like you could use ground chicken to make like meatballs, I guess. I don't know. Something about chicken and it being mashed doesn't, I don't know. But anyway, sis, if you enjoy it, enjoy it. You know, you're getting your protein and you're getting your veggies. Who am I to say anything? I don't need to have an opinion, right? So I don't need to have an opinion. I don't. All right, now when we plate the soup, it's usually good to have some slices of lime on top of it. Yeah. We got to work on it. We We gotta work on our flavor. We're not there. But you know we're gonna get there, right? You know I'm gonna get there. All right. So I think now I'm gonna add the potatoes. Potatoes. When I take the cover off, it stops boiling, so I have to keep the cover on. And it's probably time for the coconut milk as well. Maybe like half a cup. Don't need to put a lot because we don't want our color to get all right. And then to finish off, we're gonna add, oh, no, it's time for us to put our nyame and stuff too. Forgot about that. More root vegetables, wow. That's another hearty soup, isn't it? And I think the nyame is going to thicken it a little bit, so that's a good thing. Yep, I was a little bit worried about the liquid, but we're good because we still have to put our fish at the end, remember? Ooh, doesn't that look pretty, you guys? Wow. Okay. So the coconut just added what it needed. So next we're gonna squeeze the acid. I think I'm gonna need another line. Yes. All right, because I'm gonna need, well, usually when you put the lime on top of the soup, they are wedges. So I need to get them in wedges. I'm gonna put some of that parsley and yeah, I got one. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Ooh. Am I gonna snack on my fish again? I'm snacking. Anybody have questions? Not chicken. Oh, okay. Oh, chickpeas. Oh, thank you. Because I was like, mashed chicken? I don't know about that. Chickpeas, great. That's a good marriage. You squeeze some lime juice on it and some cilantro. Yeah, you could put it on top of like crackers or wedges. Do pita wedges and scoop that mixture with the pita wedges that you toss in the herb oil and put it and toast it in the oven. Listen, play with your food. I like that. Yeah, I don't mash a lot of stuff, but I can see the chickpeas. But my best way to eat chickpeas is to cook it like I just did and put it in that pan, toss it in the herb oil, and put some turmeric and curry powder and roast it in there. Yum, yum. Play with your food. Okay, so let's see where we're gonna put our soup. You know, I had bought some of that integral rice, but there's so many root vegetables in this soup, you don't need any kind of starch. next to it, right? And we're gonna use our pretty bowl here to put our soup in. All right, I was gonna use this one, but again, because the soup is yellow, it just wouldn't do a good contrast. I need to get some different dishes like that, but I think it's nice. But we're gonna put it in here. Did I say this soup wasn't gonna take time? I guess I lied. But I'm sure it's over an hour. Oh yeah. I do that though. I tell people I'll do it for this long and it's longer. So sorry. Forgive your sis. Ooh. All right, so it's time to play with the flavor. Make sure, because once I put the chicken in there, it's gonna help the flavor, right? All right, time to squeeze the acid. Woo. I do have one of those juicer things. I like to do it with my hands instead. I don't know why. But that's good though, because it helps me keep my fingers strong. And then I like a little pulp, and I don't want to just get rid of everything. So now it's just watching everything else in here. The consistency, that nothing is getting overcooked, right? The potatoes are looking halfway done already. The corn's been in here, so it should be nice. Only 2 pieces of corn. It should be nice and cooked. Again. So this is the doctoring part. I did not put cumin. I think I need a little cumin in here. The color is good. Don't need any more turmeric. A little bit more of adobo. No more curry. A little bit of cumin. Not a lot. And we may have to add a little bit of salt. We have not put any salt in this. All right, so it's just working on that flavor. It's getting there. It's getting there. A little bit more acid. Ooh, it's doing it again. Now, I'm looking for a little bit of salt. So I'm going to use a little bit of that soy sauce. Not too much. All right, I'm going to throw in my squash. Remember I said that they needed to be in here late because they were going to cook really fast. And they're also going to help thicken the soup. Ooh, it's getting there. The amount of things in it. So I'm going to cover it so it would come to a boil quicker. Yeah. Let's see. We're going to be decorating, not decorating, we're going to topping it off with some parsley at the end. We got the lemon wedges. We don't need this. But I think once we add the fish, it's just gonna bring it together. Okay? Soup is one of these things, you don't want to be rushing it, especially if you're cooking for, you know, a friend or somebody. You want to be sure. So I'm cutting the chilies because we're going to top them with the chilies at the end. But if it's Thai, it needs to have a little heat. Okay? Yes, yes, yes. Woo-wee. It's getting there. Yep, the consistency is getting there. Actually, leave it right here. Because now I'm gonna add the broccoli and the cauliflower. We're almost done, guys. And a couple of minutes later, we're gonna add the fish. How can this not be good for you? I ask you. Play with your food. This is a pot of goodness right here. You're not gonna find this at a fonda. You're not gonna find this in a restaurant. I guarantee you, okay? So don't get it twisted. Don't think when you go to a restaurant and you're paying all that money that you're getting this level of food. You're not, okay? All right. Oh, it is beautiful. But I think I definitely need some salt. There is a singer here. Oh, what do they call it now? I'm talking about her and I forgot her name already. And she is beloved. She's a teeny little thing, but you know, she doesn't charge a lot of money for people to go to her concert. They're either free or like $5. And she's got a heart. She does a lot of social things, give donation, visit sick kids. So, yep. All right, I'm still working on that taste. It's not exactly where I want it to be, but I think once I put the fish in, it's gonna bring it together. See. Here comes the fish. Oh my God. Now you see how big this is? I'm gonna be eating this all week long. My goodness. But if I had like a Dutch oven, I don't have that here, unfortunately. So we gotta make do with what we have. Yep, it's still a little bit on the thin side. I may still end up adding a little bit of cornstarch, but not a whole lot at all. Ooh. So pretty. Almost. It's missing. Something is missing. All right, let's add the chilies. A ver, a ver, a ver. Got a lot of fish in here. Ooh. So you got potatoes, you got chayote, you have cauliflower, you have broccoli, you have tomatoes. What else do we have in here? Chile and squash. Yes. Woo. Oh, okay, we're getting there. Okay. It's tasting much, much better. All right. So now we're gonna just put some parsley just to freshen it up and give it a nice little. Woo. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. My goodness. Yep, I think I'm gonna put just a teeny bit of cornstarch. Not a lot, but I just need a little thickness. And then I'm gonna monte au beurre. If you're vegan, you don't need to put it. You know we're not vegan up here. No. Up in here, up in here. All right, a little bit of slurry, which is like a few drops of water. That's your slurry. This is your answer whenever you want to thicken something. You just throw a little bit of that in there, and it will thicken your soup. Okay? Look at this beauty by Corky. Woo! Yeah, I needed a bigger pot. But look at it. Look at it. Oh my God, my goodness. And then, like I said, I'm going to monte au beurre. Monte au beurre means you just add a little pat of butter. If you're vegan and it upsets your sensibilities, leave it out. But this is, oh, you're not vegan because you got fish in there. Never mind. This is not a vegan dish. Take that out. And the habanero. You know, that chili I put in there did not make it, you know, any hotter. But you know, I like heat, so I might add a little bit of cayenne. I do have cayenne, and I'm gonna put a little bit just for me. You don't have to do it. You know, I put cayenne in my smoothies, right? Supposedly it's good for your metabolism, so don't knock it. I put black pepper in my smoothie sometimes. Okay? Okay. I think we're done. I'm gonna turn the heat off and gonna add a little butter. That is what we call monte au beurre. This is that beautiful New Zealand unsalted butter. And you see, I only put a little pinch of salt in here, maybe quarter teaspoon. So if you got high blood pressure, you don't ever have to worry about eating this soup. Alright? So the heat is off. So this is our soup. Woo-wee. My goodness. Oh my word. I don't know. What do you think? Hi Maggie, new follower. Love your recipes. Thank you. I made your roasted salad and chicken. But yes, I'm so glad. I'm so happy to hear that. All right, guys. So let's plate this. Well, maybe not. This is so deep. Maybe not this one. Let's find another dish. Maybe. Okay, this one wouldn't work. Maybe my blue plate. I love this blue plate. We love this one. So, and of course, there is so much. We have so much root vegetables in here. You don't need any carbs to accompany this dish. I'm looking for my other phone so I take a picture. So this is going to be all about soups, you guys, for the summer. What happened to that one? My goodness. Okay. You know, I told you I got these placemats in Arizona. I remember going to a conference. Then I ended up going to Sedona. Oh my God. What is a beautiful place. Sedona in those mountains. Yes. Oh, beautiful. Excelente. All right. Let's get our soup out. So we're gonna get our, it's not a ladle, it's like half ladle. When you're plating, you want a contrast, right? You want the plate that's why white is so good, because it just is universal. But I'm challenged here finding things that are white in the size that I want. And I want you to notice that nothing is just falling off. Nothing is overcooked. That's why you have to time where you add this, when you add that, because you see my fish? It's still hearty. It's cooked, but it didn't disappear in the dish. And that's skill. You need to make sure you learn how to do that. You time when you adding this, when you adding that, because you don't want your soup to be a hot, podgy mess. That's another pet peeve of mine. I got a lot of pet peeves, right? Okay. All right, let's put this one pretty corn piece on this. Yeah, it needs to be like that. Ooh-wee. Look at this. My goodness. Oh, wow. And I want you to know, when I make soup jumeau with the squash soup, you're going to see that it looks exactly like this one, even though they're not the same, and the principles on how we cook them is not the same. But it's going to appear that it's the same, okay? But it's not. I have some leftover napkins. That's not something I buy here. I rely on paper towels. Listen, when you're retired, you lose all your inhibitions about, when you used to entertain. I'm not entertaining anymore. If I have people over, we're just going to sit there, or when I have a lot of people, we just do like a buffet. Right? And we need a spoon, and that's all we need for our dish. Sí, estamos. This is Maggie's version of the curry. You know, I didn't put a lot of coconut milk. I don't like a lot of coconut milk in my food, but this is it. Oh, let me put a couple of lime wedges, because you always want to decorate with that. Yes. All right, this is just put that right here. Okay, because you know when you say Thai, you're talking chilies, coconut milk, and then you want some. So this one, you can make crostinis with French bread that you just brush with some garlic and butter, put it in the oven. It's a little bit hard. You do pita chips. I think I showed you how I make pita chips. We'll make pita chips for something else. And I was thinking one day we need to make focaccia. Focaccia is like this Italian bread, but I don't want to have the bread around. That's going to be the problem. So we probably shouldn't do that. But this is my version of the fish soup that has corvina, chayote, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, chickpeas, nyame, malanga. Oh my God. What else did we have in there? And calabaza squash. And then we use coconut milk, and we had some stewed tomatoes in there as well, right? And then we put the curry powder and the turmeric powder. Oh my goodness. It looks amazing. Yep. All right, guys. This is it. We're done for today. Thank you for being with me. I'm going to dig in this because that's my lunch. Slam dunk. Yes, it looks great. Woo, guys, thank you. Play with your food. We're going to be making soups every single week. So somebody said chicken tortilla soup. I haven't made that, but of course we're going to try it. We're going to do it together. And listen, I'm not a perfect cook, but I can think on my feet. If something is going south, I'm like, how about this? How about that? And we'll do it together, right? Look at this. Look at this. The fish is holding its own. See? This is a piece of fish. All the veggies are whole. There is nothing that is like overcooked. That is a skill you need to learn. Did you see how I put the acid in it at the end? Acid balances your flavor. And then you always add some herbs at the end. I put the Italian parsley at the end. Lemon wedges. I did the chickpeas. Everything comes together. It takes a little bit of thought, but the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And of course, especially if it brings you joy, that's even better, right? If you're stressed out, go in the kitchen and play with your food. All right? Bye, guys. Thanks for being with me. I appreciate you all. Bye. Oh, don't forget the wine. We did deglaze with white wine. Pinot Grigio, right? Bye.